And welcome to Dollars and Cents. I'm your host, Heather Sullivan. We have a great show for you today. It's going to be eye-opening as Fox reporters have been working across the country to help you get ahead financially. First, the Labor Department says, hey, come get your money. $8 million that Texas employers didn't pay their workers, and they want you to claim it. I'm going to show you how. We have new ways to protect your tax refund so that identity thieves don't steal it from you first. Before you spend hundreds on a new TV for the Super Bowl, did you know that your TV has probably been on the wrong setting since you bought it? We're going to show you how to tune it up for free. And a man says $4,000 in cash was swiped from his safe deposit box. Why it took a reporter stepping in before he finally got his money back. Up first, you may have an unclaimed paycheck just waiting for you. The U.S. Department of Labor says it recovered $460,000 in back wages and damages for 104 workers after it says a Houston grocery store failed to pay them for overtime. The department says it found Y.S. Lee Company, Inc., operating as Guanajuato Supermarket on East Mount Houston Road, paid employees regular wages instead of the required time and a half for overtime and failed to keep accurate pay records. But that's not all. This comes as the department says 12,000 Texans have an average of $662 just waiting for them. It totals $8 million, and that's from other employers that it also found were underpaying their employees.
This is money that has already been earned by workers, and it's their money, so they should go in there and see if there's anything there for them.
The Labor Department says anyone can search for their employer on its website to see if they are owed back wages. And you'll find the link on Sullivan Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. You just enter the name of your employer and be sure to use the parent company name. If it owes you wages, it'll pop up and you can file a claim right there. You have 3 years to claim this money or it goes to the U.S. Treasury. And if your employer is not listed and you weren't paid for some work, you can also file a complaint with the Department of Labor. It says that it protects workers regardless of immigration status, and it can communicate in 200 languages. We also reached out to Guanajuato Supermarket, but we did not receive a response. Well, tax season has begun, and of course that means scammers are already at it. So watch out for text messages and emails supposedly about your refund. All it takes is a simple click on a bogus link, and hackers can get into your phone or your computer and start stealing your money and identity. So how do you stop them? Well, legal experts say first, just don't click on any links. Just don't do it. Only use the official IRS website to check the status of your return. Warn your family and friends about scams that you do spot to help protect them, and report scams to the Federal Trade Commission, which, by the way, can also give you a customized recovery plan if you were already hoodwinked. And the IRS says that they are working to keep us all informed about what the bad guys are up to this tax season. So Fox's Dana Fowle has some ways that we can protect our tax refunds from thieves, including some new steps that you're going to want to take.
The IRS expects more than 128 million individual tax returns to be processed before the April deadline. Last year, the average refund was just more than $3,000. So you do the math. That's a whole lot of money being dispersed, and scammers will try to intercept it.
You can beat the scammer to the punch.
Abby Reed of Reed Financial Group has some ideas she hears regularly from the IRS. This family-owned shop in Suwanee, in business more than 40 years, stays on top of the scams that affect their clients. Here's her advice.
File early as you can. I know that it's easy to put that off. Trust me, I want to do the same thing.
Because one return per Social Security number is accepted. So if someone has stolen your Social Security number and files on your behalf, they are getting a shot at your refund before you do. And it takes years to sort out a scammer is impersonating you. Next, get proactive. Set up an IP PIN through the IRS website. It's an added layer of protection.
It's basically like a password for your tax return. It used to only be available if you had already been a victim of identity theft.
Right, that's right.
But now they're allowing people to do it proactively.
A third way to safeguard your 2024 tax return and to protect your personal information is to have your correspondence with your tax preparer password protected.
If you are, which most of us are, if we have personal information, social security number, income information on our laptop or desktop, we want to make sure that it's password protected, it has the proper security software, antivirus, firewall that updates automatically.
And one more thing, adjust your withholding so you get a smaller refund. The larger the refund, the more tempting it is to steal.
This can cost and does cost taxpayers millions and millions of dollars in refunds every year.
Those are some great tips. You definitely want to take advantage of those. And speaking of taking advantage, a lot of people like to utilize the big sales this week to buy a new TV before the Super Bowl, if maybe you've been eyeing one. That can set you back a few $100s, maybe even thousands of dollars. But Consumer Reports says many people don't know that their existing TVs have actually been on the wrong settings all along, making you think you need a new TV when you really don't. So we're going to show you how to recalibrate your TV for free. Before you spend hundreds buying a new TV, did you know your existing TV may have been on the wrong settings since you bought it?
If you do buy a new TV, a lot of people just leave it in the setting, the out-of-box setting.
Consumer Reports' James Wilcox says manufacturers often put new TVs on low brightness settings to meet Energy Star goals and cranked older TVs up to torch mode to make pictures pop in the store. First, many newer TVs let you choose a preset mode, like Vivid, Dynamic, Sports, or Cinema. Ironically, he says don't use Sports mode even for watching sports.
A sports setting, what it's going to do is artificially boost the contrast, the colors, the brightness, and it's going to give you an unnatural looking image.
He says the best settings are Natural, Cinema, or Filmmaker. You can also calibrate the best picture yourself. First, freeze a dark scene on the screen and turn the brightness all the way up until you see the details in the darkest parts.
And then slowly lower the brightness because you want to get the blacks looking as black as they can, but still maintaining those details that you were able to see.
And use a white image on the screen to lower the contrast until you see the details in the lightest parts. Then gradually turn up the brightness level without losing those details. To set the color, use warm or low settings so that whites don't appear too blue. Then set the tint for natural skin tones.
It allows you to adjust skin tones so that people don't look too pink or they don't look yellowish green.
On high-quality HD TVs, Wilcox says turn sharpness and noise reduction to 0 because they're just not needed. Only add gradual sharpness if images appear soft. Then store your settings, sit back, and enjoy your freshly tuned TV. And while you're making those adjustments, if you have a smart TV, you can also download our free Fox Local app to see local shows like Dollars and Cents and special content that's not on TV. So check it out. And again, it is free. And let's check out what's sizzling right now. Of course, we're going to start with money because apparently kids today, they're all about the Benjamins. A Credit Karma survey says younger generations, the millennials and the Gen Zers, are obsessed with being rich. 44% of Gen Zers and 46% of millennials are pursuing wealth as a goal. And half or more of both of those groups say that they're actually behind on getting there. The survey says that some members of the younger generations are also experiencing money dysmorphia, which is a distorted view of money that leads to bad decisions. Financial experts say social media and freedom that their parents didn't have, those are the factors in their pursuit for wealth. An Ohio man is trending this today for this interesting technique to save money on food. This is Joey Kinsley, and he says he ate nothing but Costco hot dogs for 7 straight days, spending $1.50 each time. He spent about $44 for the whole week, which works out to about 4 hot dogs a day. And that's not all. He says he lost 4 pounds. Kinsley says regardless, though, of the weight loss and the money savings, he would not recommend this diet to anyone long term. I don't think anybody would. Well, the happiest place on earth is also trending thanks to a new Washington Post article that claims it's also the most complicated place on earth. The article cites a growing number of TikTok videos discussing this very issue and offering tips to save time and headaches. Some folks are even selling their own personal guides to the parks, and others are taking classes to learn the best times to visit, the best ways to beat the lines, and how to save the most money. They say the parks have become so expensive that they want to be sure that they're getting their money's worth. Well, the convenience of packaging for groceries and restaurant food often requires a lot of chemicals to make the plastic. And new testing by Consumer Reports reveals that some of the foods we consume contain higher levels of these chemicals. Fox's Jenna Sachs shows us how we can identify them and make smart choices.
Take a trip through the grocery store or stop at a fast food restaurant. From packaged produce to meat, canned goods to fast food. You name it, it probably contains some form of a chemical used to make plastic.
We tested a wide variety of packaged foods, 85 to be exact.
Lauren Friedman is a science journalist at Consumer Reports.
We were looking primarily for chemicals called phthalates, as well as bisphenols such as BPA, and we found them at levels that our scientists say are not okay.
Even at low levels, studies suggest these chemicals can contribute to an increased risk of diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, and certain cancers. But eliminating these chemicals from our diet is hard to do, if not impossible.
The problem is it's not just about avoiding food that is wrapped in plastic. There are so many ways these chemicals can get into our food.
Take the conveyor belts and the food handling gloves used during food processing, even from contaminated water and soil. So what can you do to at least try to minimize chemical exposure? First, try to avoid plastic food storage containers. If you do use them, don't microwave them.
Heat can increase chemical leaching into your food, so it's a good idea to avoid storing hot food in plastic containers.
Stay away from fast foods, which were found to have some of the highest levels of plasticizers like phthalates in Consumer Reports tests.
One reason fast foods may have such high levels is that they're often prepared by people wearing vinyl gloves, which are known to be extremely high in these chemicals.
Try to eat fresh, minimally processed foods like unpackaged fruits and vegetables, which tend to have fewer opportunities to touch things with phthalates. Stick with wood, stainless steel, and silicone kitchen tools, and swap out plastic water bottles for bottles made out of glass or steel.
Good tips to know. And it is crunch time for high school seniors that are trying to get ready for college. But all these changes with the FAFSA this year could delay some students from getting financial aid offers from schools. Fox's Brian Webb explains what's at stake here.
Some 17 million students use the FAFSA program to get financial aid for college, money Mary is counting on.
What will determine where I'll go to college is primarily finances. Going to college is very expensive.
FAFSA stands for Free Application for Student Aid, a program that offers financial aid, work study, and grants to college students, and money many families rely on to help pay the high cost of a higher education.
Seeing how large of a big ticket item it is, we want to see what potential financial aid and scholarships are out there.
The delay comes after the Department of Ed fixed a $1.8 billion problem that might have penalized many lower income students. But fixing it is causing a 4 to 6 week delay. Rosalind Fletcher is a college advisor at Great Hearts Academy.
Knowing the total package and how it's going to play out is essential in making that enrollment deposit and making a final decision.
If the mess is cleaned up on schedule, students should know where they stand by April. That would give seniors like Mary a 1-month window to pick a school.
I want to have a good steady career. I want to become an engineer when I'm older, or a pilot, so I definitely need to have a higher education.
Now, when you go to pay for gas, convenience in this case could actually cost you. Using a debit card could save you a couple of cents per gallon, but as soon as you swipe, you're actually risking the information on that card getting into the wrong hands.
With a simple swipe.
The moment you hit the pump, it can be 2 hours later that card is already being used somewhere else halfway around the world. So those are things you absolutely have to consider.
A lot of damage could be done.
When stores are most busy, that's when we see theft of all kinds and fraud of all kinds more prevalent. And credit card skimmers are one of those tools that thieves use to capture people's information and ultimately steal their money.
Credit card skimmers, a relatively simple and inexpensive piece of technology that criminals with bad intentions can install with ease.
They tend to be able to put it on, take it off pretty quickly. And they use different tricks to do that. They travel in pairs often. They'll have a person in the store with them or around the pump and use that person as interference.
Sometimes spotting a tampered machine can be easy.
Before they use a financial device like this, just shake it. Just see, is it going to come right off? Because a lot of times those ones that they slip right over it, if you just put any force at all on it, it's going to pop right off.
When I pull up first, I want to just take a quick look to see if a skimmer can be attached to the top of the pump. Here, it's not possible to really do that, so you'll see that there's nothing there.
They can also put a whole plate over this keypad that captures the numbers when you enter your PIN.
But we are creatures of habit, and the crooks count on it, especially when it comes to convenience. Debit cards offer just that. But the experts we spoke with, along with law enforcement, say the debit card should be left in your wallet.
Any type of Apple Pay or the actual chip that's in your credit card, those have what's called tokenization, meaning that it's not the actual cardholder data that is collected, that's replaced with less sensitive information.
Touchless payments made by phone or tap to pay offer the most security.
I'd say on the bottom end of things is the debit card. If they get a hold of your debit card information, especially as it relates to the stripe that's on the back, that's cash that's coming right out of your bank account.
And if you don't plan on changing the habits where you pay, you can still be proactive at the bank, setting up fraud alerts for one.
Our recommendation is always to be very liberal with that and put your fraud protections at almost the most highest level that you can do your daily business with. And that way you're going to get notifications from your credit card company if you have purchases that are over a certain dollar amount, and you can catch it yourself much faster.
The other thing I like to do is pull my phone out and use the Bluetooth. I like to see if I can get any type of Bluetooth signal coming out of the pump, because a lot of these skimmers, with them being put on the inside, they're Bluetooth enabled.
But if that Bluetooth goes unnoticed, stealing information is made even easier.
The scammer doesn't actually have to come back to the machine, open it up and get it. They can sit in a car that's further away and then collect all that information.
Scary, isn't it? Well, now you know. Well, a Wisconsin man thought his money was secure, locked in a safe deposit box in a bank, but he discovered $4,000 cash was missing, and his safe deposit box turned out to be anything but. Until Fox's Jenna Sachs got him his money back.
Made a lousy Christmas. I was laying in bed for a week depressed.
Jeffrey Temmer thought he could bank on his money being safe at this Wells Fargo in West Dallas.
I went down there, I was going to start my Christmas shopping.
But when a bank manager took Jeffrey into the vault in November,
The lock was drilled out.
they found his safe deposit box empty.
She was as shocked as I was. We went back to her desk, and she was going to do some investigating.
A safe deposit box is not a bank account. It's storage space at a bank where you can keep valuables in a metal box for a fee. Jeffrey says he's current on his payments.
I only keep money in there that I don't want to touch unless I really have to.
West Dallas police are investigating where Jeffrey's money went.
That's interesting.
Kent Belasco is director of Marquette's commercial banking program and says safe deposit boxes are usually secure.
I have a key, and the bank will have a key, so they can't open it without me.
Some use the boxes for documents, passports, and other valuables because of the extra protection.
There's a better chance of robbery at home or a fire.
But unlike a savings or checking account, the contents in a safe deposit box are not insured by the FDIC.
The bank is not liable for that because they don't even know what's in there.
That is, unless the customer can prove the bank was negligent.
I thought it was a safe place. You think a safety deposit box is safer than keeping it at home.
For 2 months, Jeffrey and his family asked Wells Fargo for a refund. They say the bank wanted a signed affidavit, which Jeffrey provided, and a police report he can't get while the case is open.
I'm hopeful that Contact 6 is here.
Contact 6 emailed Wells Fargo about Jeffrey. 5 days later, he walked into a meeting with the bank and walked out with his $4,000. Plus,
They gave me an extra $500 for my trouble, which I thought was very nice.
Wells Fargo tells Contact 6, we sincerely apologize that our communications on this matter and the resolution did not occur sooner. It says because the bank's correct process was not followed, it approved Jeff's refund upon getting his affidavit.
I don't think it would happen this fast without Jenna Sachs and Contact 6.
Wells Fargo says it's taking steps so this doesn't happen again.
I'm just happy it's over. I'm happy I got my money.
Wells Fargo says it doesn't know what happened to Jeffrey's money, but the situation is unusual and the bank regrets it. I'm Jenna Sachs, Contact 6.
That is getting things done. Okay, you know, I like to leave you with something funny. So a teacher is charging her students rent to teach them about money and to promote good behavior with rewards. Shelby Lattimore is a third grade teacher in North Carolina, and she's gone viral on TikTok. Take a look.
Anybody know what today is? Yeah. No. Raise hands. What's today? Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is bills. Yep. What bill do you have to pay today? Huh? Light bill? A water bill? No, not a learning bill. You're not paying tuition. Yes. You have to pay me rent. You have to pay me for that nice desk you got and that nice blue chair that you are sitting in.
Now don't worry, she's not actually charging the students real money. She has created her own classroom economy using fake money. The kids earn it doing various classroom tasks, and then they can spend it on things like paying rent for their desks and chairs. There are also things like fines for late homework. And students can also use the money for classroom perks like free time and lunch with the teacher. That's pretty creative. All right, that's our show. Thanks so much for being with us. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's all Heather Sullivan, Fox 26, if you have any questions, and I love getting your notes. You'll find more ways to save every day on Sullivan Smart Cents on Fox26Houston.com, and we'll see you next time on Dollars and Cents.